How is this? Pages? Yeah, please. Just a second. Just check. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. I stood there. My hands cold, my throat dry. The teacher had just asked me to speak in front of the class. It wasn't a complex situation. It was a simple topic. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. My chest tightened. My hands trembled. The fear gripped me so hard that I felt paralyzed. And then it happened. My voice choked. I stood there in complete silence. 30 pairs of eyes staring at me. I wanted to run, I wanted to disappear, I wanted the earth to swallow me whole that day. I was in 6th standard, and that day I told to myself, public speaking wasn't for me. We all have fears, don't we? Some of us fear failure, some of us fear public speaking, and then there are fears that we don't talk about. The fear of not being good enough, the fear of letting people down, the fear of thinking that we are ordinary, and that fear lived in me for years. But ironically, years later, I found myself sitting at the vantage point of that airfield, guiding the pilots in the sky through storm, turbulence, and the unknown. How did that happen? How did a girl who was so afraid to even speak in the class became the voice that pilots relied on? A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Wing Commander Vijay Lakshmi, and today I am going to take you through my journey of fear, resilience, and the power of stepping up even when you feel unready. I wasn't born confident, guys. I was that girl who had a handful of friends, who always avoided spotlight, who was scared of people, scared of the fact that what will people think if I am not good enough? And I had a lot of fears. Fear of failing, fear of falling, fear of height, fear of public speaking, and then there was this nagging fear that haunted me constantly. Nagging, unspoken fear, fear of not being good enough. So remember that I spoke about the girl who was not able to speak in the class? That day, my English teacher, I remember Mrs. C. Pereira, she told me that, you know, the world doesn't have the time to remember what you did and how you did. But you have the time to remember how hard you tried. And that struck a chord. And in no time, I think I participated in my first English debate. My fluency wasn't perfect. My confidence wavered, but I practiced relentlessly. I remember when I walked onto that stage, my legs felt like a stone. The mic felt heavy on my hands. My voice choked, but I spoke. I stood and I spoke. And that day, I didn't only win myself the first position, but I secured my school the first place in a regional level competition. And that was a lot for a child like me. And just when I started to believe in my own strengths, life struck me hard. Life struck me with a force that I never saw coming. One moment I was full of dreams, and the other moment I had nothing. Everything finished. My limbs refused to shake. My limbs refused to move. My voice refused to speak. I was there, but I was not there. Imagine lying immobile on a hospital bed, not able to lift a hand, speak a word, or even process where you are, not even able to recognize your own family. And that was my state for 1 month. I couldn't recognize anything. I couldn't memorize anything. My body I wasn't conscious, but I wasn't completely gone either. Doctors had given up. My parents were told to prepare for the worst, but there was something that stopped me from giving up. And I think those were my mother's words that were constantly whispered in my ears, that you are going to make it come what may. And I fought. And I fought with every ounce of my being, and no, it was not dramatic. It wasn't dramatic. It was slow. It was frustrating. It was and then I recovered. I recovered and I stood up. And the day I stood up, I knew that life had given me a second chance, and no matter what, I am not going to waste it. And then, when such things happen, I did not know what is going to come ahead in life. Orienting and disorienting in life. I did not know what life had in store for me. But then life took a leap for me. And that is exactly how Air Force happened to me. Joining Air Force was not planned. It wasn't in my list of possibilities, dear. While my friends were applying, I always thought that I will never be able to make it. Until one day when my parents said that you have it in you. Don't let your inner fear hold you back. It took me a while to understand and sink it in. And then I applied. And I thought that what if I can? What if I clear it? I applied, and trust me, I cleared every stage of my selection in my first attempt. I am so grateful to that. Thereafter, fear will always be there. We have to learn to, operate beyond it. And then I was commissioned into the administrative branch of the Indian Air Force and later trifurcated into the air traffic control as an air traffic controller, a job with immense responsibility, a responsibility that demanded immense precision. Sitting there on the vantage point of the airfield, I wasn't just controlling the aircraft, I was confronting my fears. And sooner I realized that it wasn't just confronting fears, I was responsible for the lives hurtling in the skies at hundreds of miles per hour, trusting my voice to guide them to come back home. Air traffic control is one of the most stressful jobs in the world. Amongst the top 5 stressful jobs, it is one of the most stressful jobs of the world. It is not just about handling flights. It is about owning the airspace. While the pilot flies, he controls his own aircraft. But a controller sitting on the hot seat, second counts, every decision matters because there is zero margin for error. And when a pilot calls Mayday, he is not just calling for help. He is calling for certainty. He's calling for a voice that steadies him down when everything else seems to be falling apart. At that time, confidence isn't requested, it is delivered. Composure isn't an option. It is a standard, and professionalism isn't just heard, it's felt. And at that time, I realized that my fear was so small, so trivial as compared to the magnitude of this duty. And that overtook my hesitation, my fear. And I can't wait to discuss a moment that will always stay with me forever and is very precious to me. It was a routine duty. I was the radar controller. And suddenly I hear this crackling noise on the radio telephony, that is the RT. Mayday, mayday. Both engine fire warning light on. I'm losing altitude. Indicates to the engines on fire. So, this was a pilot calling on some other frequency and I monitored. I was on the radar duty and it was transmitted on the TAR frequency. And then suddenly I felt the world around me absolutely silent. My heart pounded but my hands didn't shake. I locked onto the radar. For this emergency, no, for any kind of such reaction or such a situation, no manual can prepare you. No simulation can replicate the sheer terror in the voice, in the pilot's voice, the voice of a man struggling between life and death, knowing that he is moments away from disaster. That day, I locked onto the controls, my voice calm and steady, cutting across the chaos within. While I tried to navigate him to life, I remember my last words to him. Runway 12 o'clock, 1 mile, clear to land. Followed by a deep, heavy, breathless silence, which was only broken by the pilot saying, visual, aligned, landing. And that day, I exhaled for the first time in what felt like forever. It wasn't just about making an aircraft land. It was about the life brought home. And that day I realized how trivial our fears are in front of situations like this. We don't even realize. And yet after 14 years, I found myself at the crossroads of life. All these years, I exactly knew who I was. I was a voice, I was a leader, I was an officer, I was a voice in the sky, I was a controller whose decisions shaped missions, and maybe at times certainty in chaos. And one day I hang up my uniform. And then I realized, who am I? I asked this question to myself. Because here's the thing that no one tells you, that retirement is not just about leaving a job. It's about leaving a version of you behind, and that is terrifying. I stood in front of the mirror, and that uncertainty stared at me, and at the same time, that soldier within me remained steadfast. While I continued to ask myself that who am I, the voice said that, we don't retire from purpose. We don't retire from impact. We retire from a job. And that day I promised to myself that no matter what happens, I might not have figured a path ahead of me yet, but I'm not standing still. I'm evolving. I'm discovering myself. I am making new flight paths for myself. Fear is never going to disappear. But one thing is also not going to disappear, and that is our potential. Years later, after all this happened, they say that when you get your wings, you don't look down. But what if it is not about looking down? Or it is not about flying high, and it's about starting afresh? Just imagine stepping up from the roaring runways of aviation to the dazzling runways of pageantry. Yes, pageantry. It wasn't planned. I never envisioned. Military doesn't teach you how to walk and strike a pose in front of flashing cameras. But when the opportunity knocked, I tried to overcome my fear and gave it a shot. But there was this constant voice that was nagging in my head that, what if you're not good enough? What will people say if you walk on the ramp tomorrow? But I tried. I tried to shut that voice down. It was never about the ground. It was about, shutting that voice down. That overcoming my fear that, yes, I can do it. Why can I not do it? And I stepped onto that stage, not with the precision of a drill, but with the grace and poise of a runway. And being awarded Mrs. Vivacious 2024 was a testament to the inner strength and vivacity. And that meant so much to a person like me. So, here's the thing. Let me ask you one question. Have you ever let fear take a decision for you? Think about it. Just think about it. Have you ever let fear take a decision for you? When was the last time you did something when you felt that you weren't ready? Think. what is that one opportunity that you've kept on hold because you think that it's too late? And now think that what if you took that first step today? Because here's the thing. We will have fear walking beside us all the time. For those of you who think that life has grounded you, let me tell you one thing. Your days are not over yet. Your best efforts are not done yet. Don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait for the fear to fade. Don't wait for your self-doubts to overpower your opportunities. Don't wait. Don't wait for the opportunities to be better or you to be much ready to appear for an opportunity. Because waiting is just fear disguised as logic. Step up. Step up when your legs shake. Step up when your heart pounds. Step up when your voice is trembling. Step up when every instinct says, wait, not yet. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It is about walking with fear walking beside you because you choose to not let it hold you from your future. And today I ask you, the pilot of your very own life, are you ready to take off? Are you ready to lead? Are you ready to touch the sky with glory? And today, I leave you at that note. Jai Hind.